letting go can be hard at times. We have all this heavy baggage we carry around with us. Like just as when you go to the supermarket, imagine never putting those bags down.
My goodness me.
You know, not getting that relief when you get home and you put them down.
Or imagine going to the supermarket and then getting all the kind of stuff that you actually do not like or need.
Exactly.
That would be more like, you know, because when you go and you get the stuff you want, but imagine just loading up on all kind of stuff that you know you're never going to use.
Well, not maybe that you're never going to use now. It's stuff that you used to use before and you used to have in your diet, but you don't need it at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment you don't eat it, or they're products that you don't actually use anymore, like cleaning products. Because and you're just filling up your cabinet space and your fridge with these kind of things that you don't like. And you're thinking, why am I doing it? We know why you're doing it.
Because it's emotional baggage, and that's what we're going to be chatting about in this week's episode of
Get Real with the English Sisters.
Mind, health and anxiety.
So how do we break this loop? How do we break the loop of continuing?
Like we've always said in many of our other podcasts, the first step is to become aware that you're carrying it.
You're right.
Because just like those extra kilos that some of us carry around, they just creep up on us, and we don't know we're putting
away,
weighing us down until we go for a walk or a run and we feel out of breath.
Yeah.
And we feel huffed and puffed, and we feel heavier than what we normally feel. And then we think, oh.
You're right, actually, yeah.
Because I think a lot of this emotional baggage does creep up on you, and you don't even realise that you're just accumulating it. And you're like hoarding it.
You're hoarding it.
I know.
It's awful, really. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's not. You're hoarding all the emotional baggage, which is... You know, I can just imagine hoarding stuff that you really, really do not like or need, but you think you need it.
Yeah,
that's a thing.
It's like if you
go
look
to the supermarket and you
the
buy.
psychic of hoarders.
Yes.
They feel as if they let go of that stuff, they're letting go of part of themselves.
Yes.
So it's very hard for them, and it's actually very traumatizing for them to let go of things that other people would look at and say, that's just rubbish. You don't need any of that. It's useless.
You could definitely let go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. I mean, it is so true. Yeah, I'm thinking it's funny because I can imagine myself when I go to...
Aren't you?
No, I'm not doing it. No, I'm not. What do you mean? I'm hoarding. No, I don't hoard. You know who hoards? My husband hoards. He's a real little hoarder. And he always has something attached to the
emotional baggage as well sometimes.
Probably. Yeah, he probably doesn't want to go into it.
No.
But he does have a lot of emotional baggage, yeah. He does carry it around with him. Probably makes him feel... He always says, you're so light. How could you be so, like... Carefree and the business and this and that. And I say, yeah, but let's think about today, right now.
Because you live more in the present.
Yes. I go, let's not... But I do love preparing. It's not that I live only in the present.
Mean you don't prepare when you live in the present.
But I don't feel like
people get confused with living in the present and thinking you don't do anything, you don't prepare. It doesn't mean you're not disciplined and you don't prepare or plan for things. It just means that you don't allow your mind to race ahead or race behind. Because if you think about it, most of your thoughts are either thinking about something that's gone and
the past,
thinking about the past, or thinking about worrying about the future, or thinking about the future. And how often do we just stay here in the present?
That's very unusual.
And be like really focused on the present moment and what you're actually doing right now. Feeling the seat beneath your legs or whatever, and you're feeling light and easy in the moment. Yeah,
feeling kind of in the moment. You're right.
Feeling in your body.
When I don't feel in the moment, I actually feel really anxious. When I'm starting to think of something, like it's a weekend and I start thinking of Monday or something, of the next day's work and all the things, that then I start feeling anxious and I bring myself back.
Exactly.
And I say, no, that's not the time now. you know, and I can manage to do that, but of course,
and
there's a technique.
And we ask you how much emotional baggage, you know, how heavy is the backpack on your back? Is it heavy? Is it light? Is there nothing in it? Are they just, you know, is it just okay? It's just there because you might need it. Because that would be ideal.
It would be great if you needed
it. Something in it, you know, like when you plan to go for a trip, you take your backpack, but it's very light.
It's light.
It hasn't got that much. Just the stuff.
When I went for a weekend trip, I certainly didn't. It wasn't light. I prepared this massive suitcase. However,
it did have wheels though.
It did have wheels.
You went on your back.
No, and I was going by car, and I did actually need all of the stuff that I put in there.
Exactly.
Because it was actually cold where I went in the end. It was in the mountains. It was much chillier. But yes, we must ask ourselves these kind of questions, I think, because we all do carry around far too much. And what happens is that it causes these patterns of unconscious behaviour to keep on recurring. We keep on repeating the same things. Maybe it's in relationships or it's at work. But when you do carry this emotional baggage around, you cannot see your true self.
No, because you're always thinking about the things.
Your true self is
baggage.
Is hidden away, as to say. Yes, you're heavier. You're not really the essence of who you really are.
You're weighed down, aren't you?
You're weighed down. So you've got to remember that carrying emotional baggage around it's just freeing, but it doesn't mean that you're forgetting things that happen to you. You don't have to forget them, but what you have to do is to learn
to make peace with them.
Yeah, to make peace and not to carry the emotion around, because the emotion will burn you.
Yeah, so I think you just have to have a good look at whatever's troubling you, what emotional baggage you have, and think, how does it serve me now? Is it serving a purpose now? Is it making me take actions and making me do something that's going to help me resolve this? Or is it something I really do have to let go of? Like if you're in a toxic relationship or something, do you have to let go of that and, you know, move on? What do you have to do to solve this? Because
I mean,
it needs solving.
It needs solving. We were at dinner with friends the other night, and they were both recently divorced, and it was so lovely to hear them speak about their exes, because they were both speaking, yes, it was really hard, and there was a lot to blame, and he did this and she did this and that. But at the end of this whole thing, they were saying, yeah, but we're friends now.
Yeah, so resolved it.
They've resolved it. They've forgiven, and they have not forgotten, but they've forgiven, so that they too, as new people, can come back into the world of love and light and not feel weighed down by this old baggage. They were both light as people now.
Yeah.
Whereas I remember seeing them, because they're old friends, seeing them in the past, and they were much heavier. It's not heavier physically, heavier mentally.
They weren't as happy, were they?
No, they're much happier now because they're lighter, and I think they're both carrying less baggage around, ironically.
Well, you know, yeah, because you would think, you know, they've had failed marriages.
Yes, they might be.
But you don't think of it as failure, because in the end they had, you know, lovely children from marriage, and it was just like an episode in your life. You have to think of these things not as failure, but like feedback.
They're feedback.
Life experiences that you've
learned. It's your life. There are those years in your life that you will never get back. So the only way, I think, is to actually heal from things like separation and divorce is to remember the good times you did have with that person. Yeah. And they're always good times.
Don't forget the more awkward or difficult times, because they're there to serve you a purpose, because they might, you know, you don't want to repeat that in a new relationship.
You do not want to follow those patterns.
Yeah, you don't want to continue this loop of whatever was bothering you in the old relationship. You want to learn and grow from it.
But you don't want to have this baggage or this shadow of yourself following you around. You know, you don't want that. You want to be able to understand that that was you a while ago, but you are forever changing.
Yeah, if I think of what I used to be like, I mean, I can hardly even recognize myself.
No. The things you would have said in the past, they're not things you would say today.
We're like almost different people.
Yes, so sometimes when I see, you know, some of our old friends and they reminiscent about the past, do you remember that? And, yeah, it's sweet, but I can't really relate to that girl anymore.
No.
Only some of the core essence and the values and beliefs are always there. But I can't really relate to that anymore. For a lot of the times, I can't even remember it because it wasn't that important to me. But
yeah, I think it is because we've let go and we've grown.
Because we tend to let go. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, you let go.
And there might be something really, really hurtful that someone said to you as well, and you never, you know, get into that person's shoes and just think, well, you know, why did they say that? Because sometimes people don't actually say sorry. You know, it's just not in their nature. Like with our parents, like our dad, he would never apologize for anything.
Never.
He just didn't even know the word.
No, never.
So
never.
He would apologize by making us a cup of tea or something.
Yes.
That was his way. So sometimes, you know, communication comes in very different forms. You don't need to a lot of the times you don't need to receive that formal apology or the word sorry, but you can see that person is sorry
in his own or her way, wants to is apologizing. Yes, that's very true actually. Because there's no point being so...
And so why do we have to hang on to these things that maybe someone said to you once? You have to keep that in your head. Just let go of it. Know that they said that because they're human and people make mistakes.
And they say things that they don't really mean. Yeah. And if they did mean them at the time, they may not mean them now.
Exactly.
Because they've changed and life changes you. Because that's what life is supposed to do. You're supposed to evolve and change. You're growing all the time, so you're growing mentally as well and through experiences.
So there is a meditation you can do. It's just, you know, if you're not driving, you can just close your eyes and imagine that backpack on your back full of bricks, and then you just imagine walking up a hill. And just putting those bricks down, so
one by
one, till you get to the top, and then feel how light that backpack is at the top, and then you can maybe even take it off and just, you know, take a few deep breaths and just sit there quietly in that space for a few moments until you feel as if you have like released all these things that you no longer need and are no longer serving you, but you can still keep, like what you were saying.
Yeah,
you can keep the memories associated to
Yes,
them.
that's right. You don't you can lighten the load.
And you can
lighten it.
I think
you can keep some of it if you're not ready.
You can also keep pathways open as well, so that you can, in the future, maybe you can go and mend some of those relationships. But if they're not, you know, if it's not possible to mend them now, you don't have to hold hatred and anger towards that person. You can just be at peace, calm within yourself. If you've decided to, you know, I don't know, break up with someone or ghost someone or just decide you don't want to ever speak to someone again. But just say, okay, I'm okay with that. I've made my peace with that. But don't carry all those words and hatred around with you, because that's what really...
that is what is making you feel tired emotionally. A lot of the time we feel these symptoms like of constant fatigue, constant not being able to get on with things. We're feeling unfocused. Life is heavy, but we don't know how to describe it. So the question is, could it be your emotional baggage that you're carrying around that you don't really want to see, or you've hidden away? And you don't want to address it, but maybe you don't have to go deep into what it is, but you know there are certain things that you do carry around, certain things like what Violetta was saying, you repeat to yourself over and over again. And maybe it's time right now, today, to release something, to lighten that load for yourself, so that you can feel less weighed down. Your mind will have more space.
Yeah.
There is no doubt. If your mind is filled with space,
it'll be sunnier tomorrow morning.
It will definitely be sunnier tomorrow morning. Absolutely.
So let us know what you think of this week's episode. Do you have emotional baggage? Most of us do. Very difficult not to if we were alive.
Yeah.
But
you could maybe just think about this and just think, okay, today, what is one brick that I want to release today?
Yeah.
You can give it a name and think about that one thing today consciously.
That you'll put down.
That you can put down.
Thank you for listening. As always, come and see us on Instagram at The English Sisters or at Get Real with the English Sisters. On YouTube, you can see the full video version of the podcast and the podcast version as well. And wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to Get Real with the English Sisters, Mind, Health and Anxiety. See you soon.
See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.